This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Thursday, August 22nd, 2024, and we're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, it is the latest episode of Between the Pods. I will be joined by Tom Adam, a member of the Iowa Soybean Association, as we will learn about all of the benefits and all the things that you can earn from being a farmer member with the Iowa Soybean Association. But first, let's take a look at the closing market summary.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of the trading day here on Thursday, joined by Tyler Schau of agmarket.net. Tyler, what did we see in the grains today?
Pretty disappointing trade action if you're a market bull in the ag space today, with prices pretty well lower across the board on all grains. In fact, rice is the only one that shows any type of positivity today. So kind of a tough day.
And with that being said, Tyler, at the same time, didn't we have good reports in terms of export sales this morning? So why did those two things not necessarily line up in terms of support in the ag marketplace?
So yes, we did see a lot of flash sales. The first answer is, on soybeans, our export business to China is still about 50%, even with those additional sales today. We're still about 50% to where we were a year ago, and it's close to like 35% of our 5-year average. So while we've been seeing a good string of flash sales, well, that's good news. We want to continue to see that. We've still got a long ways to go to catch up with where we were last year, where we've been over the last several years. And remember, when the USDA on their WASDE report came in last, just a week or so ago, and raised yields and production, they kind of offset some of that with increasing exports and left some of us scratching our head with as far as China's been behind. So that doesn't bode well right now, at least for your ending stocks on soybeans, unless they can come in and we really pick up the pace. So just when comparing it to where we need to be, we're still lagging.
Pro Farmer Crop Tour has been taking place this week. I know that you've probably been following along with that at least somewhat, but Tyler, some of those numbers we're getting, what have you made of the yield results that we're seeing from, like, for example, the Crop Tour?
It basically feels like just more, um, you know, confirmation that the market is correct, and pricing in these big yields. I mean, that there's some monster crops out there. I know not everywhere is going to be able to say that, but there's a lot of places with really wide areas that are showing really good yield potential. And that's, for the most part, that's what we've seen out of the Pro Farmer Tour. There's been some other tours, types of crop tours that have popped up that we've seen the data on. Maybe not quite as well publicized, and a lot of them just small local elevators and cooperatives. And we really just keep hearing the same story over and over again. And that's big yields, bigger than last year, and most likely in a lot of areas a record crop.
And with all that being said, Tyler, we've also gotten some reports here in just the last couple of days from those people that are out there, boots on the ground, getting a look at these crops, that it's very noticeable that there have been some corners cut this growing season by growers and farmers who are maybe looking to save a little bit of money on inputs and not necessarily following through with all those crop practices that they would in a normal season. Uh, have you heard any reports to this effect, and have you seen this effect in place actually out in the field so far?
So me personally, I've not seen it. I've heard, some rumblings about it. We're actually bringing on a agronomy expert into one of our video calls next week to discuss that and some of the stuff he's seeing. And that's kind of the first I've really heard out of the Corn Belt in the Illinois area, where he's starting to see some of the repercussions of some cutbacks of inputs. And we want to have that discussion on how does that play out over the next month or two, and what does that do to yields. I mean, there's no doubt there's going to be some pockets like that. I think next year you're probably going to have a bigger story when it comes to the lower input or use of inputs and trying to cheapen up the cost of this crop that's coming ahead of us that we're going to put in the ground next year.
On the other side of the markets, what's happening with the protein sector?
Big, strong recovery day. You know, hogs had kind of a wild day yesterday. Kind of gave us a head fake, went up. A lot of people bought in, only to sell off. There was people threw the towel in. My personal opinion, you know, we do rail a lot of hogs in from Canada, with the shutdown of the railways. It does kind of feel like, especially with that October leading the charge, it has ended up about $3.50 higher today. Maybe that's the market pricing in a lack of imports from Canada into the hog market. That's why your upfront charge so much higher than the rest. The cattle kind of followed along as well. You've got fat cattle up a buck 25, feeders up 250 to $3 kind of across the board. You know, there really wasn't any additional news that spurred it. Just, you know, maybe a leveling here on the cattle side, which would be good.
Tyler Schau of agmarket.net, our guest here today. Tyler, what's the best way for our viewers to get in touch for more marketing information?
Check us out on the internet, agmarket.net. We got brokerage offices from North Dakota to Tennessee, and we'd love to work with you.
And then Tyler, also next week, Farm Progress Show taking place here in central Iowa. I know you have some of the team headed to the Farm Progress Show.
Yeah, we'll have quite a few people there, and if I was a good partner, I would know what our booth number was. But I do not remember it off the top of my head, but I'm sure you can look it up and find us there.
At the very least, you'll probably be able to see Matt Bennett or Jacob Burks in their cowboy hat, maybe. Who knows? We'll see at Farm Progress Show next week. He is Tyler Schau. Tyler, thanks so much for the time, and have a great rest of your week.
You bet. Take care, guys.
Thank you to Tyler Schau of agmarket.net for our closing market summary. Let's take a look now at those closing numbers, which you can find on our website anytime under the Markets tab at iowaagnet.com.
September corn closes down 4 even at 371.5. September soybeans down 21 3/4 at 941 1/4. September soybean meal down 6.10 at 306.40. September soybean oil down 56 cents at 40.44. Chicago wheat down 8 3/4 at 511 even. Minneapolis wheat down 13 even at 568 1/4. Kansas City hard red wheat down 7 even at 529 1/4. September oats down 5 3/4 at 321 1/4. On the Merc, October live cattle up $1.27 at 175.90. September feeder cattle up $2.52 at 238.20. October lean hogs up $3.47 at 79.62. October pork cutout unchanged at 90.92. Class 3 milk is down 69 cents at 21.92.
That wraps up our market coverage for this Thursday. It's time now for a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soybean Checkoff. And when we come back, I will be joined by Tom Adam of the Iowa Soybean Association for Between the Pods. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
On today's episode of Between the Pods, I'm joined by Tom Adam of the Iowa Soybean Association. We learn about all the benefits and why you should be joining and becoming a farmer member with the Iowa Soybean Association.
It's time to go between the pods with the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network and the Iowa Soybean Association. For the next year, we will explore the ways Iowa-grown soybeans are making a difference at home and around the world. Now, here's your host of Between the Pods, Mark Magnuson.
Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and we are here for Between the Pods. I'm with Tom Adam of the Iowa Soybean Association. And Tom, could you remind us, please, your role within the ISA?
I'm a secretary on the executive committee, and I also serve on the American Soybean Association board and various other committees.
And you're the District 9 director at ISA. Could you remind us which part of the state District 9 is located in?
That would be the southeast 12 counties. There's actually 2 directors in each district, so I share that responsibility with Pat Swanson.
And let's start off, Tom, with becoming an Iowa Soybean Association farmer member. What goes into that, and why should someone consider that if they're not already a member?
Well, anyone who markets 250 bushels per year is eligible to be a member. They just need to certify that and submit their email address, and you're a member. As simple as that.
And Tom, then does that mean just basically anyone that is a soybean farmer in the state of Iowa meets those requirements? Would you recommend they get involved?
I certainly do. Yes, there's lots of benefits. You'll get some emails that inform you of all the programming, and that's probably the biggest thing to be in the know about. Events like this oxbow restoration project that we're looking at today. If you're not getting an email, you're probably not hearing it too many other places. That's how you find out about it. And in addition to this type of thing, there's also other ways to get involved with Iowa soybean. So you learn about those opportunities also.
And we are here today at the Innovation for Profit Field Day, which is in Oskaloosa here in southeast Iowa, and just doing some highway scouting, some great looking beans from the road, at least from what I saw. Tom, when you think about how you first got involved with Iowa Soybean Association, what made you take that jump and become a member?
Well, I'd read the magazine for many years, Iowa Soybean Review. It always had me intrigued about the organization, much more so than some of the other commodity organizations. And finally, a neighbor who was a board member asked me to run on the board. And he told me all about it and what his involvement was and how he's gotten involved and learned so much. And I said, well, I'd give it a try. I thought, I probably won't get elected anyway. Well, I did. And here I'm 7 years later, filling out my last term on the board, and it's been a very fruitful project for my endeavor for my farming operation.
And Tom, just knowing you for a couple of years, I know that you've had a lot of cool opportunities with Iowa Soybean Association. I'm thinking about trips, events like today. What are some of those things that you've really enjoyed getting a chance to do that maybe you wouldn't have if you weren't in the ISA?
Well, probably the biggest thing is just talking with other farmers around, not just in my locale, all around the state and the country, really. That's probably been the biggest benefit I've seen. You get... it opens your eyes to so many different things that you can do. But then also, there's been numerous trips that we've taken promoting soybeans around the world, and it's been very interesting.
We already touched on it a little bit, but the Innovation for Profit Field Day that we're at here today, one of the cool events that you can be a part of if you're Iowa Soybean Association member, and getting a chance to see kind of all the things that go into a soybean operation from all angles a day like today. Why do you think these kind of events are beneficial and fruitful for the members of the Iowa Soybean Association?
Well, to a great extent, just for the networking. I've met with some farmers today that I've never met before. In fact, another Iowa Soybean former board member, and got to talk to him about his experiences when he was on the board. And but there's just so many things that you learn through being involved.
Tom, we of course think about the whole picture in the state of Iowa with Iowa Soybean Association, but when you think down to your specific farm and your operation, how has being a farmer member made your operation better?
Well, I do or have done some strip trials with the research group, and I see how these trials perform on my farm. And the one thing I really value strongly is the Iowa Soybean Association has unbiased, data-driven reports that they put out. And I think that is so important to be, first of all, unbiased, and the data takes them wherever they need to go.
And then you get those actionable data pieces, those things that you can act on, of course, to improve your farm. Tom, how can a prospective member go about activating their membership, or if they think they might be already a member, how can they confirm that?
iasoybeans.com.
Simple as that from Tom, iasoybeans.com. And as we've mentioned here, we are at the Innovation for Profit Field Day in Oskaloosa, one of the many cool events you can get involved with Iowa Soybean Association. And you can activate or confirm your membership before August 31st of this year and get entered to win one of 70 plus prizes. That includes a solo stove, apparel, and more. And like Tom said, you can visit iasoybeans.com to unlock these benefits and more. So Tom, we'll just wrap up here quickly by one more time giving you a chance to say, hey, you're thinking about getting involved with Iowa Soybean Association, you want to become a farmer member, why should you?
There's so many so many ways to get involved deeper than that also. If you're a college student, the Soy Squad is a way you can be involved. Experience class is another way that you can take a 2-day tour across half of the state of Iowa, visiting soybean businesses of various sorts. There's just so many ways to get involved that I encourage you to do that.
He is Tom Adam with the Iowa Soybean Association. It is Between the Pods from Oskaloosa today. Tom, thanks so much for the time, and have a great rest of your summer. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tom Adam of the Iowa Soybean Association for joining today's show. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the notification icon as well. That will let you know whenever we have any new video content available. You can also listen to our morning, midday, and closing market podcast wherever you find your favorite podcast at Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. And you can also listen to our daily Iowa Ag Matters podcast. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. For Dustin Huffman, Riley Smith, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.